In this video, you're gonna learn exactly what an upsell is, how it works, and how you can use it to generate more sales for your business. What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick Dang here. Before we get started, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and let's go ahead and get started. Now, when it comes to sales and even marketing, right, there's a concept called upselling. And the definition we are gonna use is upselling is essentially encouraging a customer to purchase more of the same or an upgraded version of a product and service. So you're not selling something completely different, right? You already have a paying customer and you're gonna want to sell them more of the same thing, or you're gonna sell them a premium version of the same thing, obviously at a higher price. So an example of this is, let's say you are selling SaaS, right? Software as a service, so any kind of software or tech. Typically how it works is someone is going to do, let's say, a 1-year deal contract. And because they're signing for 1 year instead of month by month, well, they're gonna get a discount. Now, if you wanted to upsell them, meaning you want to sell them the same thing, but more of it, you might say, hey, I understand that you want to purchase a 1-year contract, totally great. But if you want to do 3 years and you know that this is something right for you, we can actually give you a more generous discount for that long-term contract. How does that sound? If you're selling someone who is already a customer, well, they already trust you, they already have used your product and services, so you're just kind of simply nudging them and giving them a better discount. In return, they buy more of the same thing. Another version of an upsell is, instead of selling more of the same thing, like extending a contract, what you can do instead is sell them a premium version of what you're selling, right? So when you're selling software, for example, there are different tiers. They might call it like bronze tier, silver tier, and gold tier. And it's pretty much the same product, except as you go up every single tier, they might unlock different features that someone may need as they progress using your software. So let's go ahead and hop on my computer so you can get an example of what this pricing tier might look like and how you might be able to use this example to upsell your product and services. So we're gonna look at this company called Apollo.io, and essentially what they do is they help you, as a software that helps you send emails automated, right? So we're on the website right now, and when we go into the pricing, here is how it's gonna work. They got the free tier, which is $0, and you get all these features. You have the basic tier, which is $50 a month or $49 a month per person. And then let's say you got the professional, that's $99 a month, right? So obviously this tiered system, same product. The only difference is that as you go up the different tiers, you unlock different features. So say something like everything in basic plus all these different things. And then when it comes to, going more into the enterprise and selling in bulk, maybe you're selling, like, let's say, for example, a company has the professional line, right? Which is, let's call it $100 per month. And if they have 5 people paying $100 per month, that's $500. Multiply that by 12, then this client is worth $6,000 a year, which is, a lot of money for software. So if they want more features, right? And they want, select 50,000 records at a time, data enrichment and job changes and all these different things, right? Well, the company can charge more money, obviously, for that person to unlock these features. And essentially, if you're a sales rep working at Apollo, what you would do is you would find all the people who are on the professional tier, because they are already a customer, everything about them because you have their data. And then you say, okay, are these people qualified to move into the next phase? Meaning, are they reaching their limit of whatever tier they're in, and do they want to move into the next tier? And if they do want to move into the next tier, you send them an email or give them a call and you say, hey, I noticed that you're on the professional tier, and I was just curious to know if you were looking to upgrade some of the features or unlock some of the features. Just curious to know and want to see if you want to have a conversation about that. And of course, if they are a customer, they're happy with the product and service that you're selling, then they're gonna have a conversation with you because they want to see what's next, what more can you offer that will help them. Okay, so now that you understand what upselling is, we're gonna talk about how to actually use it in the buyer's journey, right? So essentially, you cannot just upsell anything to anyone at any time, right? When somebody purchases a product and service, usually there's some kind of journey that they go through, an experience they go through as they use your software and find success, right? So for the example of Apollo, if it's a software that helps you send cold emails, well, in the beginning, someone might be sending, I don't know, like 20 emails a day, and then they're gonna, get results, to get meetings, and maybe later on they're gonna send 100 emails a day, and then later on they're gonna send more than that possibly, right? As no matter what product and service you're selling, you have to think about what is the buyer's journey? At what point will they need more, right? At what point do they need to upgrade their software? So going back into the Apollo example, right? So we see professional, $99. And then if we go to custom talk to sales, let's look at some of the features that Apollo is gonna offer for the enterprise version of their software. And again, it's the same software, just different features unlocked, which is an upsell. So let's say data enrichment and job changes. So I know that, if you're doing sales prospecting and you're collecting all people's information, sometimes people change jobs and then your data is gonna be outdated. So when you email that person, it's not gonna work because they don't even work at that company. If a company is using Apollo and they run into that problem because they're sending so many emails, they're gonna say, is there a feature where you can automatically update the jobs for us? And if that's what they're looking for, Apollo will say, yes, we have that feature, but it's only gonna be available for our enterprise edition of Apollo. And so that's gonna be a natural conversation to get someone to be upsold and buy the next thing. Or let's say people using Apollo, they want call transcriptions and international dialing and local presence. So essentially, if you're using Apollo and you're using it to make cold calls, right? Let's say you send an email and then the next day you wanna make a phone call, but you wanna do it all on Apollo. Well, to do that, and you can do that, but then if you want the call transcriptions, meaning you want the text of how the conversation went so that your sales team can analyze the text, see what you did well, see what you didn't do well, and then improve from there. If you want that feature, and that's the next step for your sales team, well, you're gonna put that feature into the enterprise version so that you are incentivizing your customers to upgrade to that version, right? Because when you're upselling, you have to give a reason for why someone should spend the extra money to buy the same product with just a couple more features. And if you understand the buyer's journey and that in 30 months, they're gonna do this, 60 days, they're gonna need this, 90 days, if they're successful, they're gonna need these features, and you kind of map out your product roadmap in terms of tiering, and then you kind of walk them through from point A to point B, it's gonna be a very natural upsell. And if you're a sales rep or business development person, usually your company will already think of this, but you just have to understand it and implement it and find these prospects or customers that you have and find the opportunities where you can start a conversation and upsell them more of the same thing. And so if you're doing any type of upselling, whether you're an account executive or maybe you're an SDR generating leads or an account manager, you're looking for those upsell opportunities, look in your CRM, look for where people are hitting the blocks, hitting the walls, look for that point where they are successful in using your software or whatever it is you're selling, and they want to get to that next level. Those are the opportunities that you want to look for. And so when you find those specific moments of when people are likely to have a conversation to do that upgrade, then you want to just keep finding those opportunities over and over and over and keep upselling these people, right? And it's a lot easier when you do it this way because you have their data, you have their information, and when you know that they already want to do it, selling is a lot easier. You're really just taking their order because you're spending more time on the research and finding the right person who actually wants to buy instead of forcing someone to buy something that they don't need. So now that you understand the process of upselling, how do you actually do it, right? How do you execute on these strategies that we're talking about? And so how I would do it if I were, let's say, an account manager, an account executive, working at a company, and it was my job to upsell people, what I would do is I actually would go into the CRM, find those people who are hitting those roadblocks or those walls, right? And then within that client or that company, I would figure out who is the decision maker that is actually running that software, right? A lot of times it might be like a sales manager or a sales director, or maybe it's the founder of a company, right? So you wanna find out who is the highest level person that is probably in charge of the rest of the team. And I would reach out to that person, right? I wouldn't reach out to, let's say, individual contributors like salespeople or recruiters or the people that are actually doing the work and using the software, because sometimes they don't have enough say to make a buying decision at a company, so you wanna go for the higher level. So here's an example of what I would do if I was working at Apollo and I was looking for these upsell opportunities. I would say something like, I would just email the high level decision maker because I know who they are already. I would say, hey, it's Patrick from the customer success team. I saw you're very successful for a software. Congratulations on XYZ. And I would say, now I noticed that you've recently been capping out on the number of direct dials each month. And I want to reach out to see if there's anything I could do to help you unlock your sales team's full potential. Some of our clients face similar challenges, and we were able to help take their cold calling strategy to the next level. So if it makes sense to talk, let me know what your calendar looks like, or go ahead and schedule a time to talk my calendar here, Patrick. So I would, that's the general gist of what I would say in email to get a high level decision maker to get, start a conversation with me. And the thing is, because if I reach out to someone like that and they already know who I am, or they know my company, they use my software, they're spending a lot of money, they have a problem, I recognize they have the problem, I put that problem in the email, I show them that I can solve that problem and I solve it for other people, it's a no-brainer that they're going to take a meeting with me because it's just so obvious. It's just the natural next step in somebody's buying journey. And so from there, what's gonna happen is they are gonna take the call with you. On the call, you're gonna ask a bunch of questions on what their goals are, what they're trying to do with the software, and essentially what's stopping them from achieving their goals. And then if basically your upgrade will remove those blockers and help them get from point A to point B, and it's gonna be just so obvious, then it's just gonna be a natural upsell, right? It's like they already wanna buy it. You just have to show them that you can deliver on what they actually want. And if you're able to do that, upsell, no problem. And so that's pretty much how you are going to upsell pretty much anything to anyone. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let me know in the comments what's your number one takeaway from this video. And if you want to learn more about sales and learn how to sell anything to anyone, start your sales career, or even accelerate it, I got a free training link in the description, so make sure to check that out. And so with that said, my name is Patrick Dang, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.